Hello and welcome to the Total Soccer Show. My name is Daryl Grove and I'm joined by a man who, honestly, I'm surprised he's here because he unfollowed me on Twitter and he said he wasn't showing up anymore and he wasn't answering his phone. It's Taylor Dembele. Hello.
Hello. I mean, I'll take it from a talent perspective, if not from a responding to text perspective.
All right, so today's show, we are going to do our Premier League 11 draft against each other. We've got some listener questions later on, but first we've got to do some transfer catch-up.
Yes.
The big news to me seems to be right now, Barcelona have got some money to spend.
It seems that way.
It's kind of like a Brewster's Millions situation, and they have to spend it, and they're trying to spend it on either Ousman Dembele or Philippe Coutinho.
Or maybe both.
Or maybe both, right, because in the past, 36 hours, Dembele just stopped showing up at Dortmund, unfollowed them on Twitter, and seems to be trying to force a move in that way.
No, we're sure he's alive, right? This isn't a situation when they're just like, yeah, he's just not showing up anymore. Yeah, I think
this won't be funny if that turns out to be what happened.
I'm pretty sure he's alive, but I just mean that more so from if that were me, to go back to
you can't unfollow from beyond the grave. So yes,
sure, yeah. But if that going back to your initial joke though, that if that were me, if I suddenly did unfollow Total Soccer Show and stop answering your texts, it's like you're just gonna come in and do a show. You're gonna go make sure everything's okay before you kind of comment on it.
No, call Margaret and be like, hey, how's Taylor?
And then she's like, oh, he's holding out for a better podcast offer. Or a transfer to one of the new football.
There are a lot of new shows starting.
Or total something shows,
All of which we wish the best of luck.
Sure.
Yeah.
But it is, I'd say the Coutinho one we'll get to in a second because that's a little more straightforward, even if that one itself is kind of confusing. But the Dembele one is insanity to me.
It's a huge error. To me, it's part of the reason why maybe Barcelona shouldn't be looking to sign him. Because I would argue, and I may be biased here because of my Christian Pulisic love that all American soccer fans have, I would argue that maybe Dembele is not the signing that Barcelona need. Because the number of times I've seen him play for Dortmund where he's sort of obviously shown a world of talent in terms of running at people, but not always made the right decision. I don't think he's ready for that move to Barcelona. And I think they're only going after him now because of the Neymar exit and they need a sort of a big transfer. I essentially think they're trying to fill the hole of a big name as opposed to trying to fill the hole of a player who's useful to them on the left.
Yeah, and it's also, I think, with both players, Coutinho and Dembele, it's players who were kind of seen as ungettable. Yep. They were both... for Dembele brought in last season, and then for Coutinho has become this key player for Liverpool.
Yeah,
both of them
Liverpool's far and away star player. He's like their current version of Suarez.
And so if you would say they are relatively ungettable, and so I think maybe for Barcelona it is maybe an attempt to sort of be no, we can get whoever we want. We're still that club.
I think it is. Yeah, it's more to prove a point than because they need a player, right? Because they still have Arda maybe. Arda Turan could play left wing.
For now.
Iniesta. Yeah, he's talking about me leaving, right? Yeah. Iniesta maybe could fill that left-sided spot. Rafinha, Deulofeu, Paco Alcácer is there. There's so many players that Barcelona could ask to step up, right?
Yeah.
They don't need a player. They need a big name.
They don't, but I mean...
It's disappointing.
We've talked about this before. I wouldn't go that far as to say it's disappointing. I mean, because I think anytime you lose a big player... It's an obvious, yes, they could bring in those players. Those players aren't Neymar. And so I totally understand going after a player. I would say in this situation...
I just want Munir El Haddadi to get a shot.
Yeah, I think he's gone. I'm pretty sure he's at Roma now. Or on the way to Roma as we speak. But I think, what's more frustrating for me, at least, and, who cares what I have to think. But what's more strange to me is the way this has gone about. I saw somebody point out that, it was only a few years ago that Barcelona had, the free UNICEF logo on their jersey. They weren't charging for it, that they were this club that had all this kind of goodwill.
And loads of youth players that have come through the youth team, like Xavi, Iniesta, Busquets.
But now, with this Dembele move, it very much speaks to they have contacted him. They've probably tapped him up a little bit and said, hey, we really want you. You need to agitate for this move. That's the only way it's going to happen.
And the same for Coutinho as well, right? He wasn't putting in a transfer request at Liverpool. That's the other news is Coutinho, after being linked with Barcelona, has put in a transfer request. Liverpool have said, no, thank you. It's like when you hand someone a love note in class and they give it back to you. They say you're not going anywhere. They keep saying...
I'm unfamiliar with that.
They keep saying he's not going... You're on the receiving end, more, right? They keep saying he's not going anywhere. And there's got to be some sort of tapping up type thing there as well, right?
Yeah. James Pearce of the Liverpool Echo tweeted out today that he read that Barcelona had to cancel Coutinho's unveiling at the last minute today because Liverpool won't sell. So they had, I think he ended it with those pesky little details.
Wow.
Yeah. So I think it's Barcelona thinking, we will get this player, he'll want to come, Liverpool won't be able to resist this amount of money. But Liverpool, I mean,
So far they have.
If they lose him, I saw a bunch of think pieces already written about how if they get rid of Coutinho, it's basically saying, yeah, we're not going to compete this season. So they really can't afford to do that unless they themselves then go out and throw a bunch of money at another player, and it becomes this weird sort of cog in a wheel, rotating merry-go-round of transfers. And so it just seems like Barcelona are trying to get these two players. And in the Dembele case, like to go back to it, because it is really worth noting that like he's unfollowing people and not showing up for training and not answering texts. Like, this could go very bad for him.
He has burned some bridges.
And especially
he could end up playing for Dortmund too.
Yeah, and I mean
Dortmund II.
And I wouldn't be surprised if that happens, or if he ends up on the bench for Dortmund, because they don't want to sell, and certainly with a lot of clubs, they don't want to look like they've been bullied into selling, because then in the future you're going to get bullied again.
Can I say before we move on, best case scenario for Christian Pulisic is if Dembele stays at Dortmund, so they don't get the big transfer fee, right?
Yeah,
and they relegate Dembele to a reserve team to kind of teach him a lesson. And then Pulisic's like the golden boy who stayed and is like willing and ready to play first team football.
Yeah, because I mean, and I know it's not quite the same.
Sorry, Dortmund fans who aren't just obsessed with Pulisic like American soccer fans are.
But again, I mean, like talking about Pulisic for a second, because the other name that we talked about a lot in reference to him was Emre Mor. So it was like Emre Mor, Ousman Dembele, Christian Pulisic, these youngsters who've been brought in.
More on Emre Mor later?
I mean, yeah, I think so. But he's another one who like sort of agitated and had his like emotional difficulties transitioning to a bigger club, and then had some on-field incidents, getting a red card last season, and it just seems like it's kind of he's let things get to his head, and now he has this feeling of like, no, I should be a guaranteed starter, even if I haven't earned that. It seems a little bit like Dembele has this idea of like, oh no, I am the new Messi. I should definitely be playing in Barcelona.
Yeah.
And it's like, maybe prove yourself on a consistent basis for Dortmund.
Because he's not even a 100% guaranteed starter at Dortmund every time. And again, he's only 20, so maybe this is just like a young man making bad decisions.
But I remember, I mean, in the Monaco Champions League like fixture, which you know, grain of salt there, given what happened.
because all sorts of other stuff went on.
But we talked plenty about like, yes, he scored a goal, but he also like should have passed twice to an open player and didn't, and shot.
That's what I was talking about when I'm saying he's maybe not the player Barcelona needs.
Yeah. And so then I guess maybe to put an end on it, or maybe to keep it going, I would say that like
I'm ready to put a bow on.
I totally understand Barcelona wanting to sign a player, but I think it makes more sense. And maybe this is just the rumor mill because they know they have so much money. They've been linked with 14 different players, but it makes more sense to me to spend money on a player that is gettable, that isn't going to cause this amount of drama. Because there is sort of a feeling right now in my mind of like Barcelona are sort of the aggrieved party in the Neymar transfer. Like, yes, they've got a ton of money, but it seems like rules were bent and loopholes exploited. Yeah. And it's PSG.
Or non-traditional ways of signing a player were used, right? Because it came from the Qatari Sports Investment Fund, essentially.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's weird to think of this giant club as sort of being the victim, but it seems like they've very much squandered some of that goodwill now because Dembele could be in a bit of trouble. Coutinho has asked for a transfer. My theory there being that he was maybe backroom channels said like, oh, only if he asks for a transfer will we let him go, thinking there's no way Coutinho's going to say, yes, I want to transfer, and then he does, and now Liverpool like, well, no, we're not going to sell him still. It all seems very weird, and it seems like a lot of relationships have been broken, and I don't quite know how some of them get repaired.
Yeah, it's like Brewster's Millions, like I said, that they have this money burning a hole in the pocket, and they feel like they have to spend it, but in trying to do so, they're just wrecking their relationships around the globe, right? they haven't got friendly relations with Dortmund or Liverpool after this, which is a problem going forward. Next time you want to buy a Liverpool player.
I'm going to do another movie analogy to go on top of this. It's like Indecent Proposal if like Richard Gere made that proposal and Demi Moore was like super into it and Woody Harrelson was like, no. I'm like, wait a minute, I don't want this to happen. Why are you two so into this? I should have a say here. like it's not, it doesn't quite work. And then Demi Moore and Woody Harrelson, I guess they do have stuff to work out of the movie, but in this scenario would also be like, wait a minute, we're really, really into that. Let's talk about why.
Isn't Robert Redford in that film, or have I imagined that?
Oh, I thought it was Richard Gere who makes the Indecent Proposal. It might be Robert Redford.
Yeah.
That makes more sense.
Yeah.
I mean, they're both dreamy. So
that's okay. Your analogy still works. Your analogy still works.
Right? I go Robert Redford. Robert Redford dreamier than Richard Gere.
Speaking of dreamy, let's pick Dream 11s.
Alrighty.
For the upcoming Premier League season, Taylor and I had this idea where we would do a draft against each other. Not really a fantasy team, because we're not going to keep track of points, because, I don't know why, we're just not into that, right?
Yeah.
But we are going to try and draft our best possible Premier League 11s against each other. I stayed up late last night getting my ideal 11, maybe some reserves in each position. So I've got my draft list. I'm more prepared for this than for previous drafts, is what I'm trying to say.
I had 3 beers and did the same, so we'll see how it goes.
I had 2 glasses of Tempranillo, so I'm not sure.
I feel like mine is more in line with the Premier League, is all I'm saying. If we were doing like a League On draft, then maybe.
You mean La Liga? Tempranillo is Spanish.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah,
See,
all right.
I think I Instagrammed this past weekend. I know nothing about wine. That's what I've learned.
Now you know one more thing.
Yeah, I do. I think I probably should have known that based on the name. Double L would maybe give that one away.
Yeah. You ready to go?
Yeah.
Okay, so obviously we just have to flip a coin for the draft. The only coin I have here, I just pulled out, is a euro, ironically. It has the, what's that called? The diagram of the man.
The Vitruvian Man.
Okay, so on one side is the Vitruvian Man, on the other side is a map of Europe.
Okay.
Still including England for now. Which side would you like to go?
I'm gonna go Vitruvian.
Vitruvian?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll flip it. Oh, it's spinning. Vitruvian. Taylor gets first pick in the draft. I want to just interrupt here. Please don't start tweeting, why don't you do a snake draft?
Yeah.
We just don't want to.
We're just not going to.
Yeah. You know I'll save someone a tweet there.
You know what I do want to do?
What's that?
Hurt you.
Oh, no.
N'Golo Kante, number 1 pick.
Oh, Taylor. All right, so I'm going to scratch N'Golo off.
Yep, number 1. I think because we just learned how important he was last year for Chelsea, season before with Leicester City. He's my number 1.
So whichever
N'Golo
team
Kante.
he is with wins the Premier League?
Yeah, pretty much. Even though you predicted that would not happen this season.
And I had a whole reasoning for why I was going to pick him, which was all about his interceptions and just how great they were, and Chris Nolan should make a movie about it.
I'm glad I took all that away.
Okay, so you've got N'Golo Kante.
Yep.
I am going to go with a player that a lot of teams have been after as the season's about to start. Virgil van Dijk.
Wow.
Virgil van Dijk. Okay, so here's the thing. So Liverpool after him, Man City theoretically after him, and I was always curious about is he really that good? So while I was preparing for this draft, I went and watched some Virgil van Dijk highlights, and yes, he is 100% worth it.
Wow. Okay.
He looks like a footballer who is playing... when you play Super Mario, either Brothers or Kart, and you get the star, and you're temporarily invincible, and you're just better than everybody. You get there first, you knock everybody out of the way, and no one can touch you. That's what Van Dijk looks like in his defensive highlights.
What character are you postulating that is? I'm wondering.
I don't know.
I feel like Toad is the fastest one, right? But then a lot of people don't like Toad.
Well, whoever you are, when you get the star, you're just the best.
Okay, that's
right?
true.
That's
okay,
what I'm
so
saying.
You're
sort of
star.
Unbeatable, yeah. This guy wins everything in the air, steps and wins everything aggressively, and then when he gets the ball, he is so smooth on the ball. He'll have a couple of little tricks and a really nice pass. I honestly think Van Dijk, if whichever team gets him, if Man City get him, we're all in trouble. But right now, I've got him. He's in my team.
If you gave me 100 guesses as to who your first pick would be, I don't think I would have gone Virgil van Dijk. Although, in retrospect, I shouldn't be surprised because you're Daryl, the centre back.
I kind of fell in love with him last night.
Here's who I thought you would have gone for, so I'm happy to get him with my number 2
pick.
Is
this in the Let's Try and Hurt Daryl draft?
No, it's just the person that I really wanted. It's Harry Kane. I'm going to go Harry Kane up top.
Okay.
Just because with the formation I think I'm going to go with, he makes the most sense, and I think he's a proven goal scorer. I was talking with my buddy about this the other day, just that he's been the top scorer 2 seasons in a row. I think he has a decent chance of doing it again, and I think he's been so important to Tottenham, so important to England, will continue to be so for both, so I'm putting him in there.
I heard Michael Cox, Michael Cox, on his The Mixer podcast, talk about why Harry Kane is so great, and I can't remember if it was Michael Cox or someone else. It might have been Adam Hurrey talking about how he doesn't have one thing that you would say he's great at. He's not amazing in the air and wins everything like Peter Crouch, or he's not super fast like Michael Owen was. There's not one skill, but he's just above average at everything except speed, I guess. That causes him to always be able to get in a position to let a shot off, and he just keeps scoring goals.
He's one of our own.
Yeah, he's one of our own. Harry Kane. Okay, so I won't be going for Harry Kane. I will go for a Spurs player though. The guy I really want in goal for my team is Hugo Lloris.
Wow.
Hugo Lloris, because I want a sweeper keeper. I think one of the reasons Spurs' defence is so good is Hugo Lloris. I think maybe he doesn't get enough credit for it, but he's maybe the best keeper in the Premier League.
Okay, so
and now he's my keeper.
So you've gone with your goalkeeper. So if we're going to go with the competitive draft format, then I don't need to pick a goalkeeper until my very last pick. So
okay, yeah, I'll take it off the board for you.
So I appreciate that. So then I'm going to go to the left wing, although he can play anywhere.
No stalling. Come on, who is it?
Alexis Sanchez.
Ooh, all right.
Yes. Currently playing. It's worth noting. I guess he's not playing. He's sitting in the stands. Right now.
So Arsenal Leicester kicked off not long after just before we recorded this, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah. But I think we know what he's capable of. I'm assuming he will be playing in the Premier League this season, probably for Arsenal, maybe for somebody else, but it seems like probably for Arsenal just with the way things are going.
All right.
And I think we know what he's capable of, both for club and country, but especially for Arsenal, how important he's been, even with Lacazette coming in, even with Lacazette, spoiler alert, scoring today, it's still going to be Alexis Sanchez. If he plays well, Arsenal play well.
So dangerous. Okay, I am going to continue building from the back. And I'm going to go with a fine English defender by the name of Dave. Cesar Azpilicueta.
I knew that was who it was going to be.
Azpilicueta. I like him because whether my team ends up in a 4-4-2 or a back three, Azpilicueta on the right side of the defence is going to be super important. He's fast, he's clever, he can contribute to the attack. He's very hard to go past one-on-one. We did the whole thing about Chelsea last year and how impressed we were with Cesar Azpilicueta's defending. I want him on my team.
That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
I want another Chelsea defender on my team.
Who you got?
Marcos Alonso as my left back, left wing back, depending on what you want to go with.
Okay.
But I mean, for the exact same reasons you mentioned, but also because if you look at left wing or left backs in the Premier League, there's kind of a lot of like inconsistency there, just in the sense that like, is Nacho Monreal, is he a center back now? Is he a left back? Benjamin Mendy maybe could be in there in the conversation, but he's new. I don't really know how he'll adjust to the Premier League.
Yeah.
Luke Shaw would have been like a consensus one maybe a couple years ago, but now who knows what he's going to be.
Yeah.
There are other options out there, but I think the most solid one at left back for me is Marcos Alonso.
Okay, very nice. Okay, then I am going to complete my back three.
Yep.
I've gone all defence and goalkeeper first with Jan Vertonghen.
Okay.
Big fan of Jan Vertonghen. A lot of the stuff that Van Dijk does, Vertonghen's almost equally good at. Great at like bringing the ball out of the back with his left foot. Great at playing sort of big diagonal balls with that left foot. Great at surgical slide tackles. Surgical slide tackles from Vertonghen. So for that alone, he probably should have been my first pick. So yeah, Jan Vertonghen is in my defence.
Now it gets difficult for me because you've kind of locked up a lot of defenders there. And there's so many attacking options remaining. So
this may be actually an element of me like starting my draft last night with a lot of enthusiasm and like getting really excited about defenders, and then maybe I've just thought about that too much because then maybe I eased off as I went through the night.
So that you've left me here because I figured this guy would be one of your top at least 3 picks, and he has not been. And I kind of didn't plan to have him.
All right,
but I'm going to put him in there anyway.
Who is it?
Paul Pogba.
Paul Pogba. Okay, yeah, I was looking at Paul Pogba.
Yeah,
I was thinking about him. My thinking with going defenders first is that I think there's a lot of attacking talent in the Premier League. You almost can't go wrong. But defenders are really good defenders are at a premium, right? There's no Sergio Ramos or Gerard Piqué. You know what I mean? So that's why I decided to go there first. But tell me about Paul Pogba.
Full disclosure. 2 of your defenders that you have so far were not even on my list. So I would disagree with your perspective.
Tell me why you love Paul Pogba so much.
I mean, it's so that first of all, I'll say this. There was a great still image from Man United's game against Real Madrid in the, the European Super Cup or whatever you want to call it?
UEFA Super Cup.
Thank you. Where he could have passed the ball like to a wide open Mkhitaryan probably scores there. Instead, Pogba shoots from about 25 yards out. And that's kind of why I was okay with you getting him, is because he still has those moments of like, you're still not quite there. You're still not quite that like all-around player. But even with that said, we've talked about it so many times, the physicality that every game you're going to get 2 or 3 moments of just sort of like, what? What did he do there? How did he hold that guy off? How did he do that flick? How did he shoot from there?
Yeah.
It's all of those little intangibles combined with when he puts them all together and has those sort of next level performances that he's capable of. He makes himself just such a compelling automatic selection, even if it's my 4th selection.
No one else is so...
5th selection, excuse me.
No one else is so big and strong and graceful and has such good vision. I don't know any player that combines like the raw power and the sort of like the things that you'd expect of like a short Spaniard. You know what I'm saying?
Combined with Andre the Giant.
He's like Iniesta, like on many steroids, like giant Iniesta. Okay, is it me next then? Okay, I've got my back 3. I better get some midfielders, haven't I? I'm going to go for Gundogan.
Okay.
I feel like he is an under-the-radar pick for this draft 11 because no one really remembers him from last season, but I think he's a top-quality holding midfielder, so I'm going for Gundogan in my central midfield.
So was your approach with this like for this specific season or just like overall talent?
It's just who I like the most.
Okay, I see.
Just who I enjoy watching. So part of my plan for this is not necessarily to send it out to play against other teams, but just for me to sit back and enjoy what I've put together.
I see.
Yeah.
And so my question
it's a pleasure draft.
Well then, on that note, because this is more about like Gundogan himself, how do you expect him, like from what you've read, is he going to be in there from the start of the season? Is he going to be factoring, or is it going to be slow?
I think he's still being eased back in. But at some point, he'll be dominating midfields with his passing.
Well, anytime you can get a player in there who can't play right away, you got to get him in there. I'm going to pick a player next for as long as he is in the Premier League. I think I would want him. It's Philippe Coutinho, aforementioned.
I was wondering whether to,
So I've got him there. I'm not sure where I'm going to put him, but I mean, we've already talked about a little bit in terms of what he brings to Liverpool, what he brings to the attack, really any attack, be it Brazil or Liverpool. But specifically
outside of the foot passes and shots, that's what he brings.
And just, he reminds me of a person that I'm going to mention later, David De Gea, who, like, It was sort of, there was a time when if De Gea had left the club, Manchester United, then it would have been sort of like, ooh, this does not look good, that they're starting to get a little bit pillaged.
Transfer death spiral.
Yeah, and I feel like that's how a lot of people feel, a lot of Liverpool fans feel about Coutinho, much more so than like, we can replace him, we'll bring in another forward.
Like it would symbolise the end of what felt like an ascendance.
Yeah, and I think he's just that important and that talented of a player. Mm-hmm. And I'm a Man United fan, I don't love Liverpool. I will watch Liverpool specifically to see what Coutinho is doing because he's all over the place, exciting.
All right, so since there's a lot of attackers off the board and I'm on my my sixth pick and I haven't got one, I'm going to go for Eden Hazard.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Eden Hazard is going to be my left-sided attacker. I think I'm going 3-4-3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Anything else to say about Eden Hazard?
I don't know what else to tell you. Just like the best dribbler in the Premier League, possibly. The most effective, the most dangerous. Eden Hazard. I mean, he is the Premier League equivalent of sort of Ronaldo and Messi in La Liga. Okay. Right? He's like the guy everybody's scared of.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm
thinking of like the game when Man United had Herrera man-mark him the whole time because they're terrified of him. Yeah. And it kind of did work, but there's only so many players that are that scary that you have to have a whole game plan to deal with them.
Maybe I'll just get Herrera as a third midfielder, and then I can put him in there just in case. Then I'm going to go with maybe one that's also going to bump me out a little bit. Dele Alli is going to be another one of my attackers. He'll be probably my central attacker. I'll put Coutinho on the right. Why not?
Okay.
And I'll have Dele Alli running it as the number 10. And I think because, at least in terms of this team, he'll link up with Harry Kane. And then just from a general perspective, I like seeing where he's come because even at the end of 2015 or 2016 season heading into the Euros, my prediction was like, he's going to get a red card. He still has that bit of immaturity about him. I think he still does because he's still young, but he still continues to elevate his game to the extent that he is going to be an integral player for England in the coming World Cup, and I think obviously for Tottenham this season. So as long as he stays healthy, Dele Alli in there.
I'll be honest, he was my next pick.
Yep.
He was the guy I was going to choose next.
Yep.
Okay, so instead then, as an attacking midfielder, I am going to take Kevin De Bruyne. Mm-hmm. I'm going to put him in central midfield with Gundogan.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not the most defensive pick, but
Kevin
De Bruyne at central attacking midfield.
Okay.
KDB.
So now I suppose I should start looking at my defense. And it's tough.
You sound thrilled about it.
Well, it's just more so because it's one of those where I still have a lot of my first choice options, but I'm just not sure. I'm all over the place, but I'm going to go Toby Alderweireld as one of my two center backs.
I feel like you're scrambling now. I feel like you're scrambling for defenders.
I mean, no,
this is what I wanted.
He was still my first pick. It's just more so basically I was deciding if I wanted to take my first pick at right back, but I like both of my right backs, so I'm not really concerned. So I'm going Toby because I want a player named Toby in my team. But it's just also, he's another one who he moved to Spurs. It seemed like, it was like, he's going to be a good player for them. And then since then, it's just been lights out. He and Jan Vertonghen, who I know. We split them up. I feel bad about that. But they've been
we'll let them see each other on weekends.
One of, if not
no, not weekends, during the week.
Yeah. One of, if not the best center-back pairings. Even if not from a statistical standpoint, it's still...
Probably is, from a statistical standpoint.
I can't remember if they conceded the fewest goals or if it was Chelsea last season. Okay. But either way, they're up there consistently. They're amazing, both amazing center backs, but Toby Alderweireld, I think really if I had to choose one of the two, I would have gone with him in the first place.
Easy to say that now. Easy to say that now. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I need a central striker. You took Harry Kane, so I'm going to go Romelu Lukaku.
Yep.
Not least because I want to split up that Pogba-Lukaku thing if we're splitting partnerships up. I'm kind of expecting Romelu to have a big season. I think it's like all the pieces are in place. His best buddy's there, laying an assist for him. He'll have service coming in from the sides with those great wide players Man United have got, like Mkhitaryan and Martial.
Yep.
I think it could be happening for him.
I hope that you are correct. I still have moments of hesitation, moments of doubt about Lukaku because he does have those times when he is a little bit wasteful. And there's another one that stands out, and I know that we're not trying to judge everything by one moment, but again in the Super Cup that we already talked about, he had one where the ball was played through. And if he had just stayed in the middle of field, I think it was Mkhitaryan was going to get to it first. Mkhitaryan coming from an onside position would have squared it to him. It would have been 1v1 or an open goal. But Lukaku ran across because he was so eager to get the ball and got it, and he was offside. And the camera cut to Toni Kroos, and Toni Kroos just started laughing. Just straight up laughing, wow, that was dumb. In a very, ooh, you shouldn't. And so I just still have those moments of I just don't know. And so really for the
I'm glad he's getting it all out of his system before he plays for my team.
But so I say that only to say that I think he is going to be very good for Manchester United. I think he will continue to be very successful, hence my prediction about Lukaku when we did the prediction show. But I do think that if you're going with the polished, proven striker who's going to get consistently perform week in, week out, it's probably Harry Kane. So that's why I went Harry Kane.
Yeah, but okay, I don't disagree. Yeah. But Lukaku was, second top scorer in the Premier League last year on a team that didn't finish in the Champions League spots, right? Mm-hmm. You can't argue with that.
You cannot. And since you've gone with kind of the players you want to see, I'm going to go with the player I want to see as my center back, Eric Bailly. I want Eric Bailly, Toby Alderweireld locking it down.
That's not bad.
Nope. I think Toby's going to...
It's the second best defense in this room, but it's not bad.
I just Eric Bailly, I mean, first of all, he has like the athleticism to make amazing defensive plays.
Yeah. I've seen him cover some ground.
He has the discipline to... I think he is like consensus best center back at Manchester United right now at a time when there are like 17 center backs in there. And then he has that intimidation factor. We talk about the big eye stare that he sometimes does. He just has that ability to like knock a player down and not even care. There we go. Eric Bailly, my other center back.
Okay, then I am going to go for Christian Eriksen. You know, I'm a big fan of Eriksen. You heard me talking him up in the previews, right? Mm-hmm. This man can pick a pass from anywhere and put it right into Romelu Lukaku's path. I think this would be a magnificent partnership. I'm also, if I'm a Spurs fan, if Dembele doesn't work out, Coutinho doesn't work out, I'd be worried that Barcelona turn their eyes to Christian Eriksen. He'd be a great Barcelona
I think he's
player.
another. I was pausing to think. I think he's the other one that those stories came out today. That he's the other one in case it falls through. They're going to go after him. Which, if they think they're going to have more success with Daniel Levy and Tottenham when it comes to negotiating, good luck.
Well, I mean, I don't know, but like in the end, Modric left and Bale left. Like those players were able to be prized away, and I rate Eriksen that highly.
That makes sense.
There you go. My front three right now is Eriksen, Lukaku, and Hazard.
There we are. I'm not sure how I'm going to go. I think I'm going to go in a 4-2-3-1. I haven't quite decided yet.
It's a good time to decide now. You're picking your last couple of players.
I've got them where they are. But, you know, we'll shift it around in the season.
Who are you taking?
Right back is where I was before. That's where I was deciding. And my first choice was Hector Bellerin.
Yeah.
I'm going Antonio Valencia.
Really?
Jose Mourinho's the best right back in the league. I just love him.
Jose Mourinho says that.
That's enough for me. Yeah, I think so. I'm going heart over head here. I think because when we did the European draft, Bellerin might have been my fourth pick because I think he is so valuable as a right back because he's a good defender and a very good attacker and very pacey. But Antonio Valencia offers you all those things and he plays for Manchester United.
I'll say this, it's not a silly pick. I actually think Valencia is a very good right back every time I see him. I think there are other guys out there, which is why I think it's a heart over head pick, but I think there's nothing wrong with this at all.
I'll say this, I think he is similar to Luke Shaw under Van Gaal when he went down. It had very big problems for the club as a whole. I think same thing. If Antonio Valencia gets injured this season, there's going to be a lot of problems with United. So
of Damian-shaped problems.
He's that important. Well, he'll probably be the starting left back. So I think those mutton chopped problems might be there anyway. We'll see.
Okay, speaking of heart overhead, the guy so I'm going to play a 3-4-3. The guy I want on my right wing between Azpilicueta and Christian Eriksen is DeAndre Yedlin. I could have had Kyle Walker, who's almost certainly a better player, but I want DeAndre Yedlin on my right flank, just because I'm excited to see him back in the Premier League, and I'd like to see him with this talent around him.
Yeah,
Come on in, DeAndre.
I'm really excited for my 11 players versus your 9 players for the first week of the season. And then, since I've picked 10 players, might as well pick the final one, David De Gea. Okay, for me.
You'd have gone that first anyway?
Yes.
You think De Gea is better than Lloris?
Yes, I think so. But I think if you're talking about why you wanted Lloris, I don't necessarily think of David De Gea as a player like doing that sweeper keeper job. And I think probably Lloris is better in that regard at doing that. But that's because I don't necessarily think De Gea has been asked to do that. And I think he probably could if he wanted to.
Probably not under Mourinho, right? He's not going to ask for that.
But I mean, I think just in the sense that he was kind of like a franchise player and remains a franchise player for Manchester United, that I think he is, I would say, the best goalkeeper in the league right now.
Okay, then my final pick is between Sead Kolasinac and Benjamin Mendy for that left side. And I think, because I don't want Arsenal fans to be mad at me for not including any of their players, I'm going to go Sead Kolasinac. And because he not long ago scored on our television screen,
spoiler alert.
I'm going to say, do you have to give spoiler alerts? Like it's Game of Thrones?
No.
I'm going to go for Kolasinac on the left wing.
And I believe with that, I have successfully avoided having any Man City players in my team.
Is that right?
I did not mean for that to be the case.
Yeah.
I thought I would probably end up with Sergio Aguero was my number 2 striker option. And just because he is, again, the same thing. He's a consistent goal scorer in the Premier League, but if you want that kind of more so big target guy, which is what I was looking for, Harry Kane, Romelu Lukaku fit the bill.
I also want Gabriel Jesus more, maybe, given his form. He was on my list of potentials here. Other guys that I didn't get that I was kind of interested in.
We could keep going.
Well, Bernardo Silva, I think was a really good shout to have on the right, maybe instead of Eriksen. I may regret that by the end of the season. Sadio Mane.
He's on my short list.
Adam Lallana I thought of as a central midfielder or a right midfielder, but I didn't want to cheat too much.
Depending on the way this draft went, I had Gylfi Sigurdsson in there as one of my attacking options. Under Eric Dyer as midfielders, very, very good.
Neither of us mentioned Mesut Ozil. Why is that?
I don't know, really, other than because I think certain things stand out to me that I probably would have had to put him on like outside wing spot, just because I'm not going to have him in the middle because of all the talent that is there.
Yeah.
And so in my mind, then you go back to that sort of he doesn't really want to do that. He doesn't really want to do the defensive job. Maybe that's no longer the case, but that's the stuff that stands out for me, and that's why I didn't have him in there. I
thought, so honestly, in my head, I realize I'm going to make people angry as I say this, it was between Eriksen and Ozil to be one of those front three who it's their job to play those passes in. They're both really great at splitting defenses with those clever through balls. And in the end, I think just because I've been thinking about Eriksen lately, I went for Christian Eriksen.
Yeah. And
Come at me, Arsenal fans.
I mean, I would also say...
I am at TBRock00.
Yeah, there it is. I would also say that my kind of attacking... my attackers in that spot where you might have picked Mesut Ozil were Philippe, Coutinho, Dele Alli, and Alexis Sanchez. I don't know if he's better than any of those.
Ooh.
I know some Arsenal fans will argue with me about probably Dele Alli versus Mesut Ozil.
Yeah,
I genuinely don't know. Maybe that's because
it's different
of age
positions
as well.
also, right? Ali can play farther back, right? He can play more like a central midfield. I actually regret not getting Dele Alli because I thought he would have toughened up my midfield a little bit.
But I mean, it all speaks to your initial point that there's so much talent available in the Premier League, and I think it's probably also then goes to who do you end up watching on a weekly basis? That if you're an Arsenal fan who watches Arsenal, or if you're a neutral who ends up watching Arsenal, you probably see things in Mesut Ozil's game that I don't, because I don't watch them as often.
Yeah.
So I still appreciate how good of a footballer he is. I just think, I'd probably go Alexis Sanchez over him if I'm going Arsenal players. I think I'd probably go Coutinho over him as well.
All right, before we put an end to part one, let's read our teams out very quickly. What formation is your team, and who have you got in it?
I've gone 4-2-3-1. David De Gea in goal. Marcos Alonso and Antonio Valencia are my fullbacks. Eric Bailly and Toby Alderweireld are my centre backs. Midfield of N'Golo Kante and Paul Pogba. Attacking three of Alexis Sanchez, Dele Alli, Philippe Coutinho, with Harry Kane up top.
I like it. It's pretty good looking. All right, mine is 3-4-3. It's Hugo Lloris in goal. The back three is Azpilicueta, Virgil van Dijk, and Jan Vertonghen. I'm personally really excited about that. My four midfielders are Yedlin on the right, Kolasinac on the left, Gundogan and Kevin De Bruyne in the middle, launching some counter-attacks. My front three are Christian Eriksen, Romelu Lukaku, and Eden Hazard dribbling at you. Look out.
Alrighty. Should we ask people to simulate this one? Should we do some FIFA simulation, see what happens?
Yes. At Grey Hair Gaming, if you would simulate this on Football Manager.
So not people, one specific person.
That would be great, or anyone. Maybe we'll take a photo of what we've written down and send it along, or type it up. I can type it up and send it along. Okay, today's sponsor is a returning sponsor with a very special short-term offer. It's Woven T-shirts. All right, so Taylor, if people have missed out, because we've only run 5 Woven ads in the past. People have missed out. What's the Woven concept? Because it is kind of a unique deal.
Yeah, absolutely. It's basically you sign up, you get a T-shirt sent to you once a month. The T-shirt has some sort of graphic design on it. That design is done by an artist, so it's not some kind of mass-produced here's a Rolling Stones poster from 1976 that is now on every shirt that you can buy at Target.
I was going to say
the Batman logo. It's a very unique design that is both fashionable, but it's also not that sort of stuck on sort of the shirts that have the thing that's the logo that's on there that it feels really stiff and rigid and it's not very comfortable. Still very, very comfortable shirts with a very interesting, unique looking design.
I think simple and elegant is the way I would describe the designs that come on Woven T-shirts.
Agreed.
The thing is, it arrives in a package at your house. You don't know what the design is until... Maybe you could sneak around on Woven's website, and maybe, if you're really good at Googling, you could find out who the designer this month is.
And as we talked about before, as I put on Instagram, last time I got a delivery from Woven, that package is kind enough to say we know where you live, which is always a nice reminder.
I think I said that on the first ad. It really made me laugh when that arrived at my house. And you open it up and then you see the design. And when you feel the fabric, you like it. But when you see the design, I have not been disappointed so far. I don't expect to be disappointed this month.
You also get a little bit of information about the artist who made that design. So you get
it's a different one every month, right?
Yeah, so the last artist whose name I forget, I apologize. I then went and found on Instagram, followed her because I liked what she did, and I continue to like her designs.
So it's WOHVEN.com. It's a monthly subscription, so because of the business model, the T-shirts are actually very, very affordable.
Yep.
It comes to $15 per T-shirt. But for the first month, if you sign up using this special TSS discount code, you get 50% off. This is only good until next Thursday. So the Thursday coming, this offer expires. The code is TSS50. TSS50 for 50% off your first T-shirt at woven.com.
There we are. Thank you to Woven for sponsoring today's show.
Will the link maybe be somewhere?
Probably in the show notes.
The show notes is a good place to put it.
Yeah,
all right, it's a good place to put it.
And let's move on from the show notes to the show questions.
We've got
a couple listener questions to get to today.
So I feel like we should start with an apology.
Sure.
Because questions had been a core part of Total Soccer Show. I think we slowed down a bit for summer, right? We kind of half took summer off. I know I went on vacation. And we lost track of answering listener questions. We are back on it. We're going to do it more and more and more. And especially if you sign up to support the Total Soccer Show at totalsoccershow.com/join at $10 a month, we guarantee to answer a question a month on the Total Soccer Show. We had a lot of questions come in, and I've chosen 3 to answer today, and there'll be many more in the future.
All of them subscribers?
I can't say for sure.
All right. First question from Ben Richards. Due to work and school commitments, I get home around mid-afternoon on weekends. As a Spurs fan, this presents a problem. Should I record those matches that are being broadcast and avoid all knowledge of the results until I get home? Should I follow the matches via blogs or minute-by-minute coverage? What are your feelings in general about watching sports after the outcome has already been determined? Well, first of all, I believe in predestination, so it's all been predetermined. I don't. That's a joke.
Okay, this is obviously a personal choice thing. I don't care about knowing the result.
Yeah.
If anything, I'm quite happy to know the result, and then I like to watch and see how it happened. There's almost more pleasure in that for me than in knowing the result, and even of a Wolves game or a US national team game.
See, that's what I was going to ask, because I don't agree with the way you said that, but I agree with the overall answer, which is that I think I would probably, if you were asking me which of those I would go for, I'd probably go with follow it as much as you can, see the minute, and then if you want to watch it afterwards, then you can. And I would say that because, yes, to some extent it removes the emotion from it, but I would rather not put in all the emotional work of avoiding the scoreline, because you really I get updates on my phones at different times. Sometimes I'll absentmindedly check Twitter or Instagram. It might be there, so
and then you ruin it. And you're like, no,
yeah,
exactly. Wasn't there a commercial during the 2014 World Cup of a guy spending his whole day? I think he was a Mexico fan trying to avoid the score.
Yeah.
And he almost made it, and then someone told him as he got home.
Oh yeah. And even I would say, like, if you do successfully avoid it the whole time, like I remember I ended up just telling a friend of mine it was the Manchester Derby when United got destroyed, and it was a friend Donnie, and I was like, dude, just here's the score. Like I just ruined it because I was like, you don't want to watch this, and you can have that too. The same thing happened to me.
Oh, you can save yourself some time. If it's 0-0 and you hear it's the worst game ever, you could maybe just skip through bits.
USA World Cup 2006 when they got destroyed by the Czech Republic, I had avoided everything the entire day, and like the guy who had recorded it so I could watch it was like, okay, if you really want to do this,
you better really like Rositzky.
Exactly. So I just think, like, because of how much effort it takes, and then it can be blown in the very last minute, and even then, like, you'll still get those sort of like Rooney, and you're like, what did Rooney do? Like, is this like a positive Rooney? Is this like, did he score a goal? Did he break his leg? Did he score an own goal? Did he get a red card? I don't know what that means anymore. Now I have even more anxiety about this game.
So maybe just to avoid the emotional trauma, it's almost like a kind of a Zen concept of just like accept that you're going to know the score because you're not watching it live. Know the score and then go and watch it at your leisure. Yeah, that's our advice. I'm not sure if Ben will like that or not.
He might not, because I would also say that I think, at least for me, a lot of times if I am watching a game where I already know the score, there's a decent chance it's because you and I are going to be talking about that game. And so it makes it
different if we're doing that.
It definitely is. So then it makes it probably a different experience for us versus somebody else who's just like watching it after the fact just to watch a game, because then that kind of emotional stake is removed. So then you have to decide, do you want to put in all that emotional commitment to avoiding the score, or have that kind of, then you don't have the emotional moment when your team comes and scores in the 89th minute.
So then what's the answer? What are we saying to Ben and to people who have the same question?
I mean, all I can do is answer from my perspective, and I would say that if I know that a game is happening and I can't watch it, I will probably do my best to follow along and keep the updates going. Yeah. If it's a major game, I will probably try to avoid it as best I can. Okay. But again, that's going to take a lot of effort.
All right, next question is from Marcus McCarthy. Marcus wants to know, who is on your Mount Rushmore of American soccer contributors? Which we take to mean sort of anyone who's just helped grow the game of soccer in the United States. Marcus suggested, for example, Bruce Arena for coaching, 2002 World Cup quarterfinal. Who knows what happens in 2014? And Alexi Lalas for the sort of media and exposure that he's given, which I'm definitely on board with.
All right. Yeah, I think I am too. I think it's probably Alexi Lalas. Obviously for like what he's done from, appearing on like various soccer podcasts and listening to various soccer podcasts. That's always very kind.
But I'm going to say it's 94 Alexi Lalas.
Yeah.
Because that is the face that everybody around the world remembers is big red beard. Alexi
I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
Like, I guess like you don't think of like the people who are actually on Mount Rushmore. Like George Washington didn't go through a radical makeover where like sometimes he had a mohawk and then sometimes he had a shaved head and sometimes it was long.
Yeah.
So you do have to make that decision. Like, is it Alexi Lalas full beard, full goatee?
Definitely. Because that's what my people back in England still remember that look from Alexi. I know he's moved on and I'm sure he maybe wants to have moved on, but everybody remembers that face.
All right. Well, then if it's Bruce Arena, which it would be for me, I would have Lalas. I'd have Bruce Arena.
Yeah.
Is he wearing a button-up shirt or is he wearing a polo U.S. soccer shirt?
Oh, polo.
Okay.
Yeah,
not that it makes much of a
2002.
difference, but you are going to get a collar in there for me.
It's 2002 Bruce Arena.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'd agree with that.
So who else you got?
I think I'm just going to go kind of standard here. I'm probably going to go Landon Donovan and Clint Dempsey. I think those are probably the two names that stand out the most, at least right now. If you were doing like, who are the defining faces of soccer, of U.S. soccer to this point? Who knows what will happen in the future? Maybe it's Christian Pulisic gets etched on like 20 years from now.
Okay, I like to think that the Landon Donovan, what would you call it, carving, has Jurgen Klinsmann trying to like push him out of the way, maybe. And I like to think Clint Dempsey has Deuce face from that game, I think again's Jamaica.
Oh, you're going to go that
angry
face?
Yeah, absolutely. Other potential guys, Tim Howard with his beard.
Yeah, I think he's on
for like most saves ever in a World Cup.
If Mount Rushmore had like 5 people on it, then I'd probably throw Timmy on there.
I figure this can have as many people as you want. I'm going to put, say, Gaetjens on there.
I think you're now going away from the idea of a Mount Rushmore. Like you have to stick with the 4.
Well, I'm going to say Gaetjens from 1950 for that goal. That's a major moment in sort of historical US soccer. And then Paul Caligiuri for beginning the modern American soccer era with the shot heard around the world against Trinidad and Tobago.
So you're going Gaetjens, Howard, Caligiuri, and Lalas?
Yeah, why not?
Okay, cool. And I'll go Lalas, Donovan, Dempsey, and Arena.
Okay. So there you go. That's our Mount Rushmore, our competing Mount Rushmores.
There we are. Final question comes from Colin Bish. Colin would like to know, what is the best format for the MLS All-Star Game? Would it be good to move to an East versus West format like it used to be, or should we keep playing European teams?
So if MLS wants the most exposure and to make the most money and to get the most eyeballs, they should keep playing European teams. Because people will tune in to watch Real Madrid and also the MLS All-Stars, right? I don't like it, but I understand why they do it. East v West would be fun at this point because there's so many players to choose from, and you could maybe get some real... There's not really a conference rivalry in Major League Soccer, maybe in a way that I would prefer that there would be. I saw was it a blog post or a Medium post by Amobi Okugo suggesting what he would do is have designated players versus non-designated players. And it'd be sort of like the rich against the not-so-rich, and then you would see a real battle on the field.
Yeah, and I think that's what I would like out of an All-Star game is something with stakes in it. So that makes sense because then you'd have the DPs wanting to prove that there's a reason why they're DPs. You'd have the non-DPs wanting to prove why they should be DPs.
And seeing how high they can get their cleats off the floor.
Yeah, the only problem there is I feel like you don't always have a lot of like goalkeeper, defender DPs, so your options there might be slightly more limited. I would say it's been proposed a lot.
Poking holes in my plan.
Well, no. I mean, I'd still like that one. But again, I think I want something with stakes. And I think a lot of people have thrown this around. I know there are various reasons why it might not work. But I would love to just see MLS All-Stars versus another league's All-Stars.
Yes.
A-League, Liga MX, J-League, K-League, whatever. Like, I think that would be interesting, too, just to see how we compare to other leagues around the world.
It's just which leagues could you persuade to send an All-Star team? Well, like Premier League would be tough because then you've got to round up like Ozil and Sanchez.
No, I mean, that's not happening.
It's got to be a league with something to gain from it.
And so I think from a marketing perspective, probably Liga MX is the way to go because you still have some of those like big name Mexican national team personalities in there that would be like a draw, but then it would also be USA versus Mexico in club format would be pretty exciting.
And then you'd have like Carlos Vela though playing against the Liga MX All-Stars. That could be tough. Oh, by the way, addition to my Mount Rushmore, the LAFC hat but lowered so you can't see who's under it. It's just a big mystery.
No comment. No comment.
Okay, so thank you to Ben, to Marcus, and to Colin for the questions. Do you have something else to say?
I do. The final point I was going to make, the other wrinkle that I love that I know other leagues have started doing, NHL specifically, is the draft. And I think that's the best thing, is where you just have a pool of players that are All-Star eligible, live? And then the captains pick live.
Like live?
Yes.
Whoa, yes. I'd be into that.
I think NHL still does that. I know they started doing it a couple years ago, and they then televised the selection process, which I would hate. I feel like most people don't like being captains.
Someone's going to be picked last as well, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Oh, does that happen right before the game or a week before?
I think it's
game?
the day before the game.
So you didn't get long to prepare.
Maybe it's the week before. Maybe you get a couple days of practice.
I'd love to do it that day,
and then just go play.
Play half an hour later. Yep. You get 30 minutes to talk tactics.
Except we've both had this before in various pickup sessions where you divide the teams you start playing. Would you have the built-in thing at halftime that it's okay, you two switch and you two switch, and now we're a little bit more fair
because it's 4-0 and
we're going to start again. First to 3 this time.
You can't have Giovinco and Villa on the same team.
We've learned this now.
Okay, thank you for the questions. If you've got questions for us, please go to totalsoccershow.com/questions and you'll see a form where you can ask us a question to be answered on the show. We also have scouting reports today, Taylor. Just the 4 of them today.
This is true. Who we got first, Daryl Grove?
Okay, first scout is Andrew Baird, and first scoutee is Josh Perez, the 19-year-old American attacker for Fiorentina. Andrew says it's been a quiet pre-season for Josh. The first signs of activity popped up yesterday. Josh went the full 90 with the Fiorentina Primavera squad in a 2-1 loss to SPAL at a U19 tournament. He hasn't got any minutes with the senior team in pre-season, and the club have a new manager, Stefano Pioli, so it looks like he'll need to do some impressing this year. Mm-hmm. That's worrying, because Perez was between the Primavera and the first team, edges of the first team last year. New coach, he could be knocked back down there.
Yes, so we'll keep an eye.
Please do, Andrew. Please do, because that's a possible big-name American player of the future, and it really matters what happens to him this year.
But it does seem like it's difficult to know exactly what's going on. We talked about that. I think Andrew mentioned that Will Parchman and I brought up Perez, and the answer is no one's entirely confident where he is or how it's going. Kay Botchanek up next, scouting Timothy Falsu-Mensah, the 19-year-old Dutch defender for Manchester United.
Still?
Yep. Well, kind of. Yeah, he's on loan at. Tim has completed a season-long loan from Man United to Crystal Palace, bringing him back together with his former Ajax manager, Frank de Boer.
Completed it? Oh, no, he just started it. Okay, they completed the deal for a season-long loan. I thought maybe time had fast-forwarded and I was in 2018 already and looking forward to the World Cup.
I'm pretty sure you did.
I think that's a good move. That's a good move for Falsu-Mensah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I especially enjoy it because he is reunited with his former manager that I think he's going to be playing at a position that they need him to be playing. Mm-hmm. So I think he's going to get a lot of minutes and a lot of experience in the Premier League.
He's the new Nathan Ake.
Sure.
Okay. Scott D. Friedman is scouting Emre Moore, the aforementioned. Dortmund confirmed that Moore was not included in the team photo, tweeting, quote, Emre Moore is missing from the shooting of the team photo. He has been freed for final talks on his future, unquote. At time of recording, he's believed to be working on a move to Inter. Mm-hmm. That's good news for Pulisic?
Yep.
It's okay news for Moore as well, because it seemed like he was never really in contention for starting 11.
Yeah. I'm not sure, no offense, folks, I'm not sure if it's ever good news to be linked with Inter Milan right now.
Really?
I mean, they're the ones who keep firing managers, as Frank de Boer.
Yeah.
So, we'll see about stability there. Final report came in from Christian Gebhardt scouting Russell Knaus.
Russell Knaus.
We know that because he wrote, seriously, guys, I'm one day late and you report on the show that Knaus, which rhymes with house, is moving to the USA. That makes me look terrible. Sorry, Christian. Christian adds that he hopes he gets more playing time in DC. He being Russell there, that his Bochum stint wasn't exactly a big success. Most of it was subbing in and decreasing over the course of the season. So basically getting minutes and then getting fewer and fewer minutes as the season goes on.
But this is why we have scouts. Thank you, Coutinho, for that scout. This is why we have scouts, because we just quickly looked up how many games did Knaus play for Bochum last year. We saw 20 and we thought, he played in half the games. That's pretty good. Yeah. But Christian had the expert knowledge that he'd only been subbing in. So maybe his spell at Bochum was not as successful as we thought when we talked about this. Yeah. Why did we talked about this early because of the Areola move, right? Yep. Mm-hmm. These the Areola move, which we talked about on your stoop. You're on your stoop. Yep. And we were just talking about DC's transfer moves. Mm-hmm. He will get playing time, right? That seems like the level Knaus is at is above the level of DC's other midfielders, Acosta accepted. So we can expect him to play at DC.
I would assume so. Yeah.
Christian, will you still continue to scout him? That is outside of Germany. Let us know. Email us and let us know if you want to keep scouting Knaus.
I thought you were having a stroke for a minute because you turned to me, made eye contact, and said, Christian? And I was like, no, I'm Taylor. We've been doing this for a while. You should probably know that by now.
I always write it down before the show, Taylor, just in case I forget.
Is that what you say, I am Daryl Grove?
Yeah.
With such strength? You're like, I am Daryl Grove. Pretty sure he's Taylor Rockwell.
I just like it confirmed.
Gotcha.
All right, if you would like to support the Total Soccer Show, keep us going, go to totalsoccershow.com/join. Mm-hmm. You will see all the options there to join the scouting network. We'll give you an exciting young player to scout, but you don't have to. You can also join the network, support the show, and choose to be what we call a silent scout, which is where you don't do any scouting, but you do help us keep the show going.
If you're not interested in joining the scouting network, but you want to help grow the show, you can also just tell a friend.
Yes.
I know lots of people have friends who like to talk about soccer, listen to things about soccer, have commutes, have workouts, have kitchen work to do and cleaning and dinner to make.
Oh, you talk about all the ways...
times that you can listen to a podcast. Maybe you have a friend who you think might like the show. Go ahead and share the word, spread the word.
Yeah, word of mouth, literally. Word of mouth to get us in people's ears.
Yep, it works. It helps. And I do love hearing that about I have a friend who listens to you guys. Or, I have a friend who loves soccer. I told him about you, and now he likes the show. It's always a happy thing to hear.
All right, please do that. Please help us grow. We'll be back, Sunday evening / Monday morning with our review of what happened over the weekend, which we assume is going to be Premier League heavy because it's the opening weekend. I think that Arsenal-Leicester game is over. We don't know the score. We're going to, after we finish recording, we're going to go and see. We'll see how that finished, yeah?
Yep.
It was 2-2 at half-time. Don't tell me. No spoilers. No spoilers.
See, that's where we are now. So no, you don't want to know the score. I see.
I'm sorry, Ben Richards. I'm contradicting myself here. All right, Taylor, thank you for taking the time to talk to me. Don't tell me. I can see your face. Don't tell me. Thank you for taking the time to talk to me today.
Right back at you, buddy.
Listeners, thank you for listening, and we'll talk to you again after the weekend.